morning.
Good morning.
Oh, it rained here. Thank goodness it rained here. And it feels a little more human in terms of the temperature. So that's good. I don't like so much behind us. Way better.
Yeah, that made all the difference. There you go.
It was a good week of conversations.
It was.
They're always good weeks of conversations, in part because you are all starting to communicate with us a little bit, which is lovely. So please keep that up. Whether we comment in the moment, as we sometimes can, depending on what we can read, or we comment later. It's way, way, way better to have this be a conversation with us and you than just with us, because we don't really need to live stream to do that. So let's get to our questions. From Monday, Seth Godin discussed attitude and action. Which one do you start with, and how does that affect how you move through the world? So remember, it was sort of this idea of, I'm thinking about starting to exercise. Thinking about starting to exercise will rarely lead you to exercising.
Unfortunately, it doesn't burn calories.
That's true. But starting to exercise will change your attitude to, I exercise. So it's an important thing for every facet of your life. You want to control your attitude. You don't want your attitude to control you. So the way to do that is to set your actions, and then your attitude will follow. Anything you want to add?
It's actually one of the first lessons that we were taught in rehab.
Do you want to say more?
Yes.
Okay, feel free.
I was dramatically taking a breath.
We do not dramatically pause on camera, Dr. Mary.
You want to be in control of your drinking, not have your drinking control you. And that once you make that switch, it actually starts to begin to allow you to decide if you want to stop drinking.
Well, and that's true for everything. Just because you say you're an exerciser or you've gone to the gym once does not make you an exerciser. It's the first step. All right. Frederick Douglass took an enormous risk by getting on the train, but actually it was the tiniest of little steps. Where do you need to make that first, bold, but seemingly simple step that is nothing more than getting started? Speaking of actions versus attitude, I'm sure he spent his entire life up to that moment thinking about being a free black man. But it took the action to change his place in the world. And think what that little action did. We are still talking about him 150 years later. He was just one of a million nameless enslaved people until he wasn't. It's incredible. One little step. You don't know where it's going to take you. Think about these two options. What is just good enough and what is right? Where in your life are you doing what is just good enough? Don't you want to do what's right? Even if it's difficult, isn't that the better of the two? Yeah, our lives are just good enough. You know what? Here's the honest truth. Marriage to Maz as an alcoholic was never truly terrible because he was never physically violent. He was hardly ever mean-spirited. You were just absent, mostly. It was good enough. My bad marriage was still better than a lot of marriages. It was good enough. But that wasn't enough. So I think it's about what is right. What is right is being active and present and engaged and collaborative and cooperative. You're more cooperative than I am, just in case anyone's concerned. Cooperative is not my best word. It's just not. But, when you know everything, then why do you have to cooperate?
Yeah, I mentioned this when we did this live. Doing the right thing is hard.
Yes.
And a lot of people say I couldn't do the right thing because it was too damn hard.
Mother is claiming that you get to take dramatic pauses because you've done the hard work. I've done hard work too, Mother. I don't want to be discounted. And I hardly ever pause. I barely need to breathe. I'm like Kenny G. I can breathe in as I'm breathing out, apparently. All right. Think about the word legacy. This is from our
Explains why
conversation
his
with Hamilton.
hair was so curly.
I'm sure that's true. Think about the word legacy. It tends to have financial implications, but actually anyone can leave a legacy because we all have the opportunity to make a difference, to leave our mark, and to set a path for others. So what will be your legacy? I think we do ourselves a disservice when we say, well, I don't have any money. Who cares? Money is just one way to make a difference. I need no encouragement towards the dramatic. That's true. It's very true. Thank you. So how do you want to be remembered? What legacy do you want to leave? And don't get hung up on, well, I don't have any money. Money is the easy legacy, and also money is the legacy that tends to really trip people up. Quinn and I were talking about it yesterday, I think. If you think about trust fund babies, think about the fact that their parents may have worked incredibly hard to earn that money. They were simply born into it. You don't very often hear about trust fund children who have done incredible things in the world because they didn't really have to work for it. Now, that's a gross generalization overstatement because there would be plenty of trust fund people who do great things, but you don't hear about them very often. So don't get hung up on not having money to leave. Money isn't always a blessing. All right, in keeping with the word legacy, how do you want to be talked about after you are gone? What if heaven really is just how you are remembered? What do you need to do today to ensure that your legacy is intact after you are gone? We talked about our friend Julie Blem and her religion professor from Concordia. We talked about Maz's dad. I love that idea. If Maz's dad is an example of how the afterlife is how you are discussed today, then he is living a truly spectacular afterlife.
Yep.
Because of how remembered he is and how fondly remembered he is by everyone I've ever met who knew him. So that's incredible. That is a legacy. And you have passed it on to Quinn, and Quinn never even met him.
Yeah.
There it is. So also don't get caught up in the biology of legacy, because biology is important. It's the only way we actually get put here. But biology is by no means the only way that you can make an impact on someone else.
That's very true.
Yes, I'm sitting next to a man who made an enormous impact, at least as much as the biology. All right, Dr. Christina Kraft joined us on Guest Thursday. She talked about realizing she needed to help herself before she could help others. Where in your own life do you need to assess your own situation to be able to be of service to others? This is the oxygen mask.
First day I was in rehab, first thing I went to was, because I was in the intensive program, we went to an AA meet. You went to an AA meeting every day and an NA meeting.
For Narcotics Anonymous.
Narcotics Anonymous. So my first NA meeting was in the basement of the
Unitarian Church.
Okay. And I met a recovering drug addict who said to me, what you got to remember is this. He said, it's like being on a plane. You have to put on your own oxygen mask first before you help others. Otherwise, you're going to pass out and be of no use. And I have remembered that every day since then. And it's the same thing. You have to be able to help yourself before you can help others.
Well, and here's what I can add to that from my own perspective of having had a lifetime of believing that I was really here to take care of others because I was in such incredible shape myself that I just had to spread the wealth. And what I learned is that sometimes you are so busy believing that you're here to help others that you're not actually stopping to look at what you need to about yourself first. When I stopped and realized the role that I played in Maz's fall into alcoholism, I had to stop being quite so, we'll go with judgy of other people and really working to fix them. I had to stop doing that and realize that I had plenty of fixing to do of myself. And it has made me a better person. I've said that many, many times. I don't think Maz fell into addiction so that I could be a better person, but I have been lucky enough and smart enough to realize that it gave me a second chance to assess some things too. So, put your own mask on first. You might be surprised how much work it takes to put your own mask on. But once you've done that and it's secure, then you can reach around and be of
You
service to
literally
other
take
people.
a breath and see what's next.
Yeah, yeah. All right, Christina also talked about getting comfortable owning your own demons. I'm using that phrase, she didn't. Most of us feel so much shame, guilt, sadness over past mistakes that we don't talk about them. That serves to keep them front and center in our own private lives, but it also means that we aren't learning from them, or that others aren't learning from them, getting inspired by them, or making changes based on our experiences too. Where do you need to just get brave and own your own past so that you and others can move on? I think there's a weird badge of honor with owning your own mistakes and not allowing yourself grace and forgiveness. That it has some religious implications to it, it has some societal implications to it, some cultural implications. A lot of people really feel good martyring themselves by never getting past their mistakes, whether they acknowledge them publicly or not. It's a really great place to live and just, well, I'd love to, but I'm such a terrible person. Who are you serving to live in that position? I would argue no one, including yourself. Don't you think?
I completely agree with you. It's learning and moving on that makes you the better person. In fact, there's always these. The leadership and management course I took for professional development last summer was completely eye-opening. There was all these adages. I mean, you see all these in all these movies I love to watch, these war films and things like that, always disasters and disaster movies too, when you get these two people getting together and goes, well, you can't lead because you're so damn good, you've never lost, and a true leader needs to lose. It's absolutely true, because to build your character you have to lose and not give up.
Yes. It's not the falling down that matters.
It's
what
again.
You do afterwards. That is where you are truly tested, because we're all going to fall down. We're all going to fall down. Whether it's something significant or something insignificant, we're all going to do it. And P.S., we're all going to do it a lot. Because if you're not, then you're not living. But if where you choose to stay is in the hole that you created when you fell down, shame on you.
Yeah.
That's tedious and boring and small and not what you were put on this planet to do.
You
It's
have
just
to
not.
get out of the hole and keep going.
And more to the point, turn around and lift somebody else out of the
Yes.
hole. Help them climb out. I have, and I won't say who it was for, but we have a couple in our lives who went through some pretty serious marital challenges. And they were at therapy, and their therapist said to them, he didn't say it like this, but I'm going to quickly say it like this. Here's your problem. When one of you falls in a hole, the other one jumps in, and then you're both in the hole. What would be better for your relationship is if one of you is in the hole, the other one stay out of the hole, look down, reach down, lend a hand, and lift that person back up. You can't operate healthfully if you're both in the hole. So don't jump in after the person, stay out of it, take a second, and then reach down and lift them out so that you're both back on solid ground again. Nothing good happens when everybody's in the hole. It's why I think we heard over and over and over again that the fear of addicts when I would go visit Maz in rehab, who would be talking to other people during visiting time, who would say things like, I'm afraid to go home because my girlfriend is still using. Okay, if she's in the hole and you're likely to get back in the hole, then nothing good can come of that. You need somebody who's not in the hole to say, I will be here for you and help you climb back out of the hole if you fall down there. It's really, really important. So I think those are good questions for the weekend.
They are. They're very good
things to
questions.
consider. I'll put them in the chat. They'll be on YouTube. They're in the newsletter. If you want to subscribe to the newsletter, that goes out tomorrow morning. So let me know. Give me your email address. And we will see you on Monday. Enjoy the
nicer
weekend. Weather. See you Monday. Thanks.
Have a fantastic weekend.
Bye.